There are many ways to extract text from docs, but extracting text from handwritten notes can be a pain. Not only that, but entering data from any kind of form takes time and can lead to errors. In this video, I'm going to show you how to extract text from multiple pages using OpenAI, n8n, and Airtable. And not only are they handwritten forms, but also medical forms. So we will look into some of the HIPAA issues as well. So we're going to go from this to this. So let's check it out. Okay, so here we are right here in our n8n workflow. And basically what I'm going to show you is just basically how this works real quick, and then I'm going to run it. So I have a webhook, and the webhook is then initiated by Postman, which I'll show you here in a second. And basically what it's going to do, it's going to go through here, and it's going to, depending on how many pages that I send, it will go through a loop, and it's going to go through an AI, which I have right here, OpenAI, is going to go through and scan all these. And then what it's going to do is OpenAI is going to scan the first page, and then this right here, this is going to combine it, and we're going to send it right after it's all done. We're going to take all the combined out, combine it all together, and kind of clean it up a little bit, and then we're going to prepare it for the tables. And here we have Airtables. I have patient, visit, insurance, and medical history. Let's take a look at that real quick. And you can see right here, patients, insurance, medical history, and visits as well. So you've got all these right here. And basically these are just ones I've sent already. And we're going to go through and send them again. So this is what it looks like. Okay. And now this, just so you know, I'm running n8n on my local PC, and then I'm using Docker, right? So I'm using the Docker station. And let me just show you this here right here. So I have this in here, and there's my n8n running right now. So with that being run, that means that it can't really, since it's in a container, it really can't see my hard drive. And so the easiest way, and what I do a lot, is I use Postman to send the documents through here. So the webhook's right here. Let's go in here and look at the webhook. And you can see here is the test URL, right? So then what I'll do then is I'll take that test URL, and I'll go here to Postman, and I'll put it right here as a post. So I'm going to send this information. And I have several different documents. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send this one right here, this Greg Medical, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got seven pages, right? So we got this one plus the 7. So we got 7 pages here that I'm going to send through. Okay. So what we're going to do then is I will go ahead and send these through. Let's go ahead and move this over. Okay, so I'm gonna send these, and then we'll watch it work here. So we'll hit the test. First of all, I'll test it, get the test going here, and then what I'll do is I'll hit send, and there we go. So it's sending through, and you can see here. So it goes through, and it goes around. Right now, usually the first page, I'll show you the pages here in a second. And as it goes through here, it keeps going. And I'll go ahead and pause this until we're done.
Hi, my name is Dave Froz, and I'm an AI cloud consultant. I've been working in the cloud for over 15 years and have a great team that works with me on all sorts of web and AI development. So if you're looking for AI consulting, training, or development, cloud architecture, or security, or you just want to start your AI journey in the cloud, then click on my link below and schedule a time to talk with me. Okay, back to the video.
Okay, so now we're done. That took a few minutes to go through the whole entire process. But before I do that, let me just show you some of the documents that we have here as well. Okay, so I'm going to show you, so this right here is one of the pages right here. This kind of shows you, and I just really wanted you to kind of see I actually wrote this one, so it's pretty bad. I even did some spelling errors here just on purpose, and then I also want to just show you the last page where I have the person's signature and date on here. So I just wanted to make sure you saw that. And so, like I said, there's 7 pages of this. If we wanted to look at maybe another one, let's see, another one right here. And so I'm just kind of putting all this in here so we can kind of take a look at that. So now we get to see what kind of documents we sent through here. And now let's go ahead and take a look in here and see. Okay, so now we have here, so I have this set to, and I'll show you here, but this is basically the last three, the first 3 letters of the last name. So Stevens, I think it's Stevens, S-T-E. And then I did the phone number, which we'll look here. I think the last 4 of the phone number, 1586. And so you can see here, it's Greg Stevens. Let's see if I can find, was that document? So we can go ahead and just kind of compare some of these here. Yeah, here we go. Here's the Greg Stevens. His birthday is June 15th, 1985. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Yep, here we go. June 15th, 1985. You got the phone number, email, that's all in here. And then we have, so what I have for date process, I have the date, which is today, right? So we have that in there. And then we have automation, whoops, gosh darn it, sorry. It was go to insurance, and we can go here. We have the insurance information. Let's see, was that insurance in here? Okay, so go back. I forgot I had the insurance here at the bottom. So we have Blue Shield, and we have, let's say, GX. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. And here it is right here, Blue Shield. We got the GX, Angie Stevens. Medical history, we kind of got the medical history in there, aspirin, tree nuts, the lisinopril, and then probably killing that. But and then we have here previous knee surgery. We can look at that. Cancer. This is kind of family history, cancer and asthma. And then visits. We have here the visit date, which he put in there, and then the problem that they're having, and then symptoms. Then I also wanted to put in here, I want to show you, and we'll talk about this later, is that the signature is there, so it's yes. So that this was using AI to kind of pull this out of there. So now you can kind of see how that works. So, and let's just go back to, I think that was that the last page that we had for, let's see, where's that signature? There's a signature right there. So that's in there. And then we can look at, there's the migraines. That's what he was having. Kind of shows you the blurred vision and so on. And then that's what we had, blurred vision right here, right? Vision changes, eye pain, redness. We had all that in there as well. So you have it. So it actually went through all the pages. We had AI extract everything that was in there, as you can see right here. And now we're going to go through and just break down each node and kind of show you how it's all done. Okay, so let's start off with the webhook. So we'll go right here to the webhook. We'll go ahead and click on that, and we can see, like I said, so now you can see here that we received 6, so 0 to 6, we have 7 documents right here. And you can see the file names, that these are all sent as files. And we kind of went through here and shows the URL, the post method that came through. And you can, we could talk about production and test URL later, but this kind of shows you how it's sending a binary data to this webhook. Okay, so now we'll move on to the binary. So basically, since these are binary names, what we had to do is, because this whole process is looking for a certain file. So what we had to do in this one is we had to take these files right here. This is called 0, this is called 1. And basically what this does is, and I try to add as much comments in here as I could, is it breaks everything down. So you can see here, so I took 0, 1, whatever, and now it's looking for, change it to file, file, file. So what it's going to do is it's going to send this one, and it's going to send the name as file. So it's changing everything, changing the numbers out here, as you can see, and then it's moving it to the next one. So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. So now when we go here, this just basically just loops through. This handles multi-pages. I had this set up originally for 3 pages, but then I was thinking, well, what if you had more than 3 pages? So that's why I actually put in a loop that would actually go through and just check everything. So this handles multi-pages, and then it also will go through and list the files from the previous node. So basically what this does is this kind of how it loops, and then we'll go to the next one that shows how, and I basically just put this weight in there. I don't know if it really needs the weight, but I put it in there anyway. And then now we'll look at the analyze image. Okay, so now you can see here we are in each one, and you can see here we have 7 items, right? And so this right here is looking for this is where I was telling you about the input data field name is looking for file, right? So here it is right here. I'm sending it in the binary as file. Before, if I didn't change it, it would have been file 0, file 1, and so this wouldn't have worked. So this is why I just changed it this way. There's probably other ways to do it, but this is the way I did it myself. So this is, and then basically what this is doing is it's taking the image, and that's basically what these are. The forms are images, and what it's doing, let's just take a look at the whole deal here, is it's it's kind of looking for these kind of things. Since I know what I'm sending to the tables, I wanted it to kind of look for these kind of things right here. And you can see here in the comments, I'm saying signature data written next to the signature line, and then this is kind of what the output is once it finds that. So this is what I wanted to look for, and I'll say this right now, that one thing I'll say about OpenAI API, and I say this to everybody, is that when you're dealing with any kind of LLM, it's very subjective, right? So that's what they talk about fine tuning. And I did do a lot of fine tuning with this to get this started. A lot of times it would go through the correct way, and then I'd run it again, and then it wouldn't. So I'd had to do more in there. So this is basically, I had to spend a lot of time on this to try to get these things fixed. Sometimes it would find the signature, sometimes it wouldn't. And one of the other things I'll mention too is that I had problems with is the length. So a lot of times my token length, I think, was set like maybe 200-300 or something like that. And what happened is that it would just stop. And so, like, for example, I wouldn't get the signature, and it was very frustrating. I tried to figure out exactly what the heck was going on. And then I found out that once I increased the token length, that actually helped out. So you can see here, so for page 7, we can look here and you can see what it's doing. It's kind of moving everything over. And you can kind of see that here's where it's asking signature present. So remember, we're looking for that, and here it is. It's saying it's present. If we go to to 6, you can see it's looking for a signature, but there's no signature on that page, so the signature is false, right? So this was definitely kind of fine tuned for these kind of documents. But if you have a form that's consistent, you can set it up this way, and that way you'll send the data there, right? Which most of the time you probably will anyway. So that's basically how this goes here. And then I spent a lot of time on the JSON, trying to get everything correct. What happens is making sure that the formats kind of got sent over in the right way. And so we had to really wrap in the markdown, the JSON content, how it was coming over. And then we do that again in the next one. But that was the biggest thing here, was just trying to get everything in here. You can see here the JSON, making sure we get everything sent over correctly, and then kind of go from there. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll move on to the combine output, right? So we'll go here, and basically what this does is this takes the raw string from OpenAI of the current page, and this ensures that it's consistently being passed through, and then we kind of put it into a thing called combined text right here. So you can see it right here. So basically taking this right here, the input from OpenAI, and then we're making it here, we're combining it. So we'll combine it all together, and you can see here, this is what we do here. So then what we'll do is we'll take that later. But for right now, this is basically all this does, is just combines this page into another page and another page and so on. So it's all in there. So then we move back, and then we'll loop through it again for the next page and so on. The weight, I put the weight in there. I'm not sure if it really works. This is kind of when I was having problems. I thought maybe the weight wasn't needed to wait for maybe the API, but you'll probably take it out. But I just left it in there. And so now we'll move on to the combine. So once it's all done, all the pages are done, we'll go back up into here. So this says 8 because it found out that there was nothing left. So now it sends it up here. And we go up here to the combine output. And the combine output is it's kind of taking everything that it found in here. And you can see here, we'll kind of take a look at this. And this is looking through everything here, and then we just kind of clean it up a little bit, right? So, and so basically what we do here is we run this for all items and that come through. So now we've taken all the combined, and what we do is we kind of iterate through each page string. We kind of strips out the markdowns that we've had from the other ones in the JSON code, and then it removes any kind of comments. And then here as we move down a little bit further, then we kind of parse everything down here, and then it cleans everything up, and then we'll move it on to the next, which is prepares all the data, make sure maps everything and gets everything ready to go. And then of course we have our error code, any kind of error code that's in here as well. Okay, so let's move on to the next node. Okay, so now we're going to look at the we just looked at the combine all output. Now we're going to look at prepare for tables. So basically what we're doing now is we're just kind of cleaning up. So you can see here we have all the information that came in here, and we're just going to make sure that we have the the formatting correct for the Airtable. Now there's other ways you can do this too. You can change the Airtable formatting to match what you're sending. But and I did some of that, but most of the time I did trying to work on the formatting here. So you can see here that we have we're taking, just making last names and the digits, making sure the digits are correct, basically customizing it or formatting it for the Airtable. So like when we go through different things like the family history was looking for a readable string. And so we had to make sure that we got that done. And so you can see here that it's kind of matching everything up here. We go through the allergies, medical history. Then we have like I said, the medical history, the visit data. We had to make sure we had that correct. Signature, I just wanted to send it a yes or no. We could have done true, false, however we wanted to do that. But that's kind of what it was expecting. And then we just kind of go from there. So this is basically really just kind of cleaning everything up, getting everything ready to send to Airtable the way it wants it. So we'll go ahead and let's just go ahead and take a look at that real quick since we're in here. So this is basically, you can see right here, though we have let's just look at the JSON. We have it gets everything through. Oh, and then I forgot to talk about the patient ID. So I have the patient ID. So let's look, and then we'll look at the patient ID. So remember, I talked about patient IDs being the first three of the last name, and then their number, and you can see where I did that right here. You've kind of got their the phone number and the last name and the phone digits right here. So I took the last name and then the last three digits, or I'm sorry, the four digits of their phone number. So you can see this is where this is all done right here. And then of course there's error codes if there's not in there. So that's how I set that up. Everything else is just trying to prepare everything the way it should be, making sure the dates are the same. That was an issue I had at first, is to make sure that the dates are all changed and correct. And then so that was all done right here. So, okay, so let's take a look at the Airtable. So look at the first one. So if I didn't have everything set up, then what happens is I would get errors. But so now what I've done is I've taken the patient ID, so we can just go here and I can take that out of here. And we'll just take the patient ID right here and we can just move it right here. And that's basically what I did, is I just mapped everything. Now there's definitely ways that you could do this. You can use the AI to kind of figure this out itself, but I wanted to do this manually. But you definitely could have done it mapped automatically, but I didn't want to mess with that because that way it stays consistent, right? So anytime you start bringing AI, you start bringing in subjective information, and so that's can be a problem. So you can see here, this information is what's being sent from here. And then we can just kind of go, let's just go down to create medical history, same thing here. And this is kind of where it goes through. So that's basically how it works. It all went through here. Everything gets going the right way. And then also what I did, let's go back. I think I forgot to mention that with the record ID, I did that for the date. So I just kind of did the date. I think that's in there as well. So then the visit and everything else, and the kind of gets created in here. And then we have the signatures, the signature present, symptoms. And then we have our insurance. Here's our visit. Oh, we looked at visit already, sorry. Medical history. You can see all that's in here, and here's what it's sending. So works out pretty well. And like I said, I wanted to keep everything manual, and this is kind of how it's all set up. Now, what I will do is I'll discuss how I used several different ones. I used the PDF to image converter. That worked out fine. The OCR worked out fine too, but when I started going to written forms, it really kind of struggled with that. And and let me show you. And also the extract from file doesn't really work that well. It doesn't work. I just want to have that in here because, like I said, it's container. And so since it's on a container, this does not work. This is why I used Postman to send files. Like I said, you can connect a drive or whatever to your hard drive on your PC, but it's just easier for me just to send it. And this is kind of like a way of sending the documents from somewhere else anyway, so that's why I use Postman. So really, this workflow is not HIPAA compliant. We're using my local PC, we're using OpenAI API, and we're using the standard Airtable. So there's a lot of things that need to be changed in order to make this HIPAA compliant for these medical forms. In my next video, I'm going to show you how you can do this whole entire process HIPAA compliant in AWS. Let me show you a little bit of how it's going to look. Okay, so here's a diagram of what the next video I'm going to put together, next project. This is basically the n8n workflow we just did, kind of on steroids, and it's all through AWS. So basically what I'm going to do is that, so we're going to have an intake, and the intake up here is going to be kind of like what we use with Postman, but I'm going to use I'll probably build a Streamlit just to upload documents, and I'm going to send those to S3. Right. And then of course, if you want to look right here, I'm also using an API gateway for this. So when I put it in there, it's an API gateway. And so this is all going to be with a pre-signed URL, so that we make sure that everything is correct from this coming in. Right. So this is why this is here. And then so basically what we're going to do is we're going to come in and we're going to send a document to an S3 bucket. And once it comes in the S3 bucket, it's going to set off an event bridge. But before that, we're also just going to make sure that, see, everything is internal. This whole entire system is internal in AWS. Now we also know that certain people can use these buckets here. They're going to be encrypted. They're going to have roles, and of course we're going to do some monitoring as well. So this is kind of what's going up here. This is kind of the monitoring, the security and compliance, HIPAA. HIPAA monitoring will be enabled once this is done. But it goes to the event bridge. Once it goes in the event bridge, because it says, hey, there's a document that was just uploaded here, or documents, and then it'll go through here. The function then will get everything set up, and then it'll go into the Lambda function, and then we'll go from there. So then from there, once the Lambda function goes, it's kind of doing the same thing as the AI that we had set. We'll use Amazon Comprehend Medical, which is set to read medical information, and we can kind of take things in or out, whatever we want in there to make sure everything's compliant. And then we'll use the text extraction right in here, using the Amazon text extract, and then once it's done, we'll send that data to some of the data to the DynamoDB, and then we'll also send the process documents here to that info to another S3 bucket. So this is kind of the same kind of situation, but this right here will meet the 100% of the HIPAA compliance instead of what we had in n8n. And it's also will be all cloud. It's going to be using VPC endpoints, so that means they can only communicate with each other. There's no external API. The only external API would be sending the document from an external source to going in here, but we'll make sure that that's done correctly as well, and then it's not receiving, or no one else has access. So if you're interested in this, we'll definitely keep a lookout on this one. I'm almost done with it, and this is kind of how it looks. Now you can see how we used n8n, automation, and AI to do the extraction. There's several other ways to do this, but this is a great way to get started. And it also doesn't have to be medical forms. This could be done with legal forms. This could be done with any kind of estimates that people write down. And let's say you will go out and do estimates all day long, and then they want to send this in. They can easily do this with anything. And the automation can be done. You can send it to Airtable. You can send it to Google Docs. You can send it anywhere.
So if you like what I put together in this video, then be sure to like it and subscribe to my channel to keep up with future videos. If you want to see any type of video on AWS or AI, be sure to leave a comment below. If you want to know how I can help you in your business, then check out my website at digital6.tech, or you can scroll down to the description and check out my link there and schedule a time with me. Thanks.